Well, we're 2 days away from the official start of the hurricane season, but the hurricane season really started in the opening days of this year. I think it was January 6th we had Hurricane Alex affect the Azores, and of course we just had Bonnie over the holiday weekend drench the Atlantic coast, and there's signs that maybe next week we could have some tropical development coming out of the Caribbean that we'll be looking very closely. But the National Hurricane Season thinks that this is going to be a normal season, even though we have got an advance on this already with two named storms. But they also don't have any years in the past that look a lot like this year, so it's kind of an educated guess. But given that, they believe there will be anywhere from 10 to 16 named storms, and of those, 4 to 8 could become hurricanes and 4 could be major hurricanes. And to look at what our hurricane season outlook for the Sun Coast would be, we have to really look out thousands of miles in all directions. And of course, for the last year, the big weather headline has been that near-record El Nino down across the Pacific, and its effects last year kept the hurricane season quite inactive because it had a subtropical jet that was strengthened by that warmth in the tropical Pacific, and that created record wind shear that prevented any tropical cyclones from forming in the Caribbean, gave them a record wind shear down there, and also kept fewer storms across the entire Atlantic basin. So they think this year, because of a developing La Nina, that indicates less wind shear, which means less interference with those Atlantic hurricanes, and theoretically it could mean more and stronger tropical storms possible over the Atlantic basin. A little normal, but things are anywhere but normal right now across the Atlantic. We have much cooler than normal temperatures up in the northern part of the Atlantic and warmer than normal from Africa into the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. And some forecasters think that could mean a stronger Bermuda high this season, which would create stronger trade winds blowing off Africa, but that would prevent any storms from developing or becoming very strong, giving us a quieter than normal season over the Atlantic. But it's not the case for the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. And this is the area they think are most likely to produce storms, which is actually where they're most likely to occur during a normal year in June coming up. And entering the Gulf, and the areas of greatest threat are from northern Mexico to the Florida Panhandle. That doesn't mean that we're out of the woods here on the Gulf Coast, because we're predicted to have a normal season, and normal means normal, meaning we could get one. Go back to the graphic one more time. There's one other area that we're concerned with, and that is where we just had Bonnie form. Another likely source area is between Puerto Rico and the Bahamas, and that could affect storms along the Carolina Outer Banks, very similar to the path we just saw with Bonnie.
That's right. And Steve, like you mentioned, a normal, that doesn't mean let your guard down, don't be prepared, and that's why we have our hurricane special coming up this Wednesday at 7 o'clock right here on ABC 7, and Steve, Bob, John, and Wendy
will all be there.
And we will have a phone bank so that you can call in if you have questions. As some of our viewers have called and said, you know, I couldn't make it to an in-person hurricane seminar. Well, here's your chance. It'll be just like that, but here in the studio, and you can call with your questions and watch all of our experts as well. So.
Exactly. Now I have to do the weather.
Now you do the real weather, other than hurricane season or current weather. So
taking a look over the bay, we had, if you were looking westward from our webcam, from the Van Wezel webcam, I'm sorry, I didn't advance it for that, you couldn't tell that there were storms behind the camera looking eastward across the interior of our viewing area, and that's where we had afternoon and evening thunder showers develop, and they're pretty much maturing. I think they're gone for the rest of this evening. There could be a spotty shower moving westward over our viewing area, but right now it's 88 at Sarasota, Boca Grande 82. Out on the beaches where it was another great beach day, 81 at Longboat, 82 at Siesta, Osprey 82, and even down in the southern part of our viewing area, near perfect conditions, 87 at Port Charlotte at this hour. Now, here's the satellite and radar view. We have that Atlantic sea breeze that came and brought heavy storms right along southwest Florida. We had a Gulf sea breeze that kicked in as well and pushed storms to the east. Where they collided, they were especially heavy down in southern parts of our viewing area. And I think they pretty much matured through the afternoon and evening hours. There could be one or two that could pop up for the balance of this evening. If we take a look at our forecast model for the night, the RPM shows that for the next hour or so, we could have some developing and moving eastward or westward into the Gulf, but once they're gone, skies will clear. And tomorrow afternoon, we should have mainly fair skies with less of a chance of afternoon, evening thunder showers. Out on the water should be another beautiful day. West winds northwesterly 10 knots, seas 2 feet or less with a light chop, and Gulf water temperature 83. Here's my 7-day outlook showing that we're going to have the odd shower pop up each day right on through next weekend and early part of next week, and maybe next Tuesday or Wednesday we'll be talking about something tropical out there in the Gulf. We'll let you know.